question is, why do you think Fairview was chosen as like the pilot school to?
Well, I mean, I think my first thought of why we were chosen was that I think that we've worked really hard to make Fairview a welcoming and safe environment for gay, lesbian, bisexual, transgendered, and questioning students. So I think that we've really done a lot of different things to make a lot of different students safe, but I think with maybe some of the work through the diversity panel, or some of the work through breaking down the walls, or some of our work throughout the years, our GSA's involvement through different conferences or different organizations, Gay Straight Alliance, I mean, their involvement, I think it's just trying to make Fairview a safer environment, and I think our students are really visible too, so I think that helps. So I think that we've also tackled some issues around transgender students and their experiences here. We've kind of dealt with different issues that we've kind of gotten through them okay, and I think students have felt okay through them. By no means are we, our work isn't done yet. We still have a lot of things to learn and a lot of things to do. We're not done yet, but at the same time I think that we're open and ready and willing to do a lot more to make sure that we can meet the needs of our kids.
Okay. So, can you give us some details about what the training was like for the teachers?
So the first part of the training was kind of nuts and bolts, kind of understanding, it was, the training was, understanding the needs of LGBT kids, but mainly focused on transgender students. So there's going to be a variety of different trainings and education that comes from this, but the main focus of that training was on transgender people, transgender kids, and kind of the implications to schools, right? But the first part of the training was just understanding what transgender is, understanding kind of the whole umbrella term of transgender issues. So, they looked at intersex, they looked at how kids identify, how people identify, and kind of the difference between gender and sex. So, I think a lot of people were confused about that, and that understanding that being transgender, and I'm not an expert by no means, but kind of from the trainings and different things that I've learned is really understanding what it means for a person to have a different feeling inside than what their outside shows. So, meaning that they would have a different body than what their mind is telling them that they are. And so that was really helpful, I think, for faculty to understand that this had really nothing to do with sexual attraction or anything to do with, who are they dating or who would they be interested in. It really had to do with gender and just clear-cut gender and how a person identifies as, on the spectrum of male or female, and even in, there's in the middle. So that was the first part, kind of nuts and bolts and understanding some of those really basic issues. Then the second part was much more individual stories. So we had a parent speak to us, a parent of a student who's transgender, and then we had a former student of Fairview who spoke to us. And I think that student might be able to speak to you guys too, so I have to kind of see if he's willing. But those two presentations were incredibly powerful because I think it really helped the teachers to get a personal understanding of it, to kind of take it out of the clinical, take it out of the scientific realm and put it much more into the real realm of, this is what a person experiences, and this is what parents experienced, and this is what this student experienced. And so that was basically the training. The administration had gotten a training earlier last year and more looked at, they did the same exact thing, looking at kind of the nuts and bolts and the basic understanding and then getting more personal stories. So but what was really cool about the training was teachers asked a ton of questions about how should they make their classroom safe? What should they do? What language should they use? How should they, be, so that kids can feel safe and welcomed. And so I think that that was the greatest part, was not even so much what they presented, but just the dialogue and the communication and what people did afterwards.
Okay. So whose idea was the training? Anyone specific?
I think it was the Boulder Valley Safe Schools Coalition, which is the people that we're kind of doing this pilot with. And I believe it was Mr. Stensrud and the whole administrative team. So they were working with the Boulder Valley Safe Schools Coalition, and they said that they wanted to do a faculty training. Yeah.
Okay. So was the training held here?
Yeah, it was in the student center.
Okay.
Yeah.
And
everyone there, all the faculty. Yeah.
Like during the summer?
Yeah, before you guys
Was
came.
it right before?
Yeah,
school?
so it was the
Okay.
Friday before school started.
Okay.
Yeah, and it was a pretty long training too. It wasn't just a quick, like sometimes, in the past we've done very brief trainings to teachers just so that they can have some basic understanding, and they'd be like a 10-minute, 20-minute talk at a faculty meeting. This was more like a 2-hour long presentation, so it was a little more substantial.
Okay.
And this was like the first one.
Yes.
Are they going to do more?
Yes, I believe that they want to do more, and they want to do more for students.
Oh, yeah.
So, on some level, we haven't really quite figured that out yet, or they haven't quite figured that out yet.
Mm-hmm.
But they want to have, once again, more awareness building of, Fairview is a pretty amazingly diverse school, even though I think a lot of times people don't think that's the case. And I think that we have really tried to work hard to make it one where people can feel welcomed. So I think that people don't even realize how open they are to each other. And, I think it's just bringing about more awareness about how cool they have been to each other and how open they are with each other and how did that happen? It's just, I think this just happened over time of everyone just being open to getting to know new people.